If you still haven't subscribed to my Patreon, there's now 115 exclusives you haven't seen or heard. How do you even live with yourself? Get binging. Support the habit at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. Here's a fun little scenario. You're on one of your favorite internet social media websites, twitter.com, and you see someone said something totally asinine. What? On Twitter? I know, that would never happen, right? But go with me on this fantasy. They've laid down some tepid take, and you want to ridicule them, as they so rightly deserve. But words just aren't enough. You need to make this shit visual. And so, you start looking for the perfect GIF to reply with. Maybe a bewildered Steve Harvey, or a Nicki Minaj giving a real, "You're a special kind of idiot, aren't ya?" look. How about a Zendaya rolling her eyes in disgust? Well, before you use those, real quick, assuming you're not already tweeting while shitting, go into your bathroom and look in the mirror. Are you a white person? If so, using those GIFs is digital blackface! A quick aside, by the way, I don't give a fuck what the creator calls them. The G stands for graphic, soft G. It's GIF, not GIF. It ain't a fucking peanut butter. Anyway, apparently this goes as far back as 2017, maybe earlier, with a Teen Vogue article, home of the most learned scholars of course, titled, "We need to talk about digital blackface in reaction GIFs." But the term recently came back into the spotlight with a viral tweet that went like this. Friendly reminder, if you're white, there's no reason to use a reaction GIF of a black person, aka digital blackface, when there's literally a Schitt's Creek GIF for everything. You see, GIFs of black people are for black people only, and GIFs of white people, like the very white people you'll find on the Canadian program Schitt's Creek, are for white people only. For some reason, to me, this seems more racist, especially for white people like this fella here to be saying it. Hey, we're white! Don't use black people GIFs! You don't see a problem with that? But before we go any further, let's maybe hear from some of the people who would agree with him. Women's Health magazine wrote an article titled, "What is digital blackface? Experts explain why the social media practice is problematic." Here's a snippet from that article. As innocent as sharing these images may seem, digital blackface is problematic because it perpetuates negative stereotypes about black people. Namely, that they're typically overly animated, loud, aggressive, angry, hypersexual, and much more. Seems to me like only a racist would ever come to the conclusion that all black people must be overly animated, loud, and aggressive. Have you seen these GIFs? Well, normal people would go, this individual's expression does a great job of expressing how I feel at this particular moment in time, and I make zero judgment upon an entire group of people by posting this one image. You know, typical thought we all have every day. BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, not, you know, that other meaning, published a video back in 2017 titled, "Is it okay to use black emojis in GIFs?" The short answer, according to them, was no, but the long answer was this.
Blackface is when a non-black person uses makeup to blacken up. Minstrel shows depicted black people in all sorts of negative ways. They were mocking, demeaning stereotypes, and they exaggerated black people's facial features and their expressions. And digital blackface is the 21st century version of that. White people using GIFs to perform some kind of exaggerated blackness.
Okay, so obviously we know blackface isn't good. We know the minstrel shows were bad. But using a GIF is not the same as Amos and Andy going, "Hello there," or a bunch of white people painting their faces black and acting clumsy and stupid. The key is the part about being mocking and exaggerating people's features and expressions. First off, no one is mocking the people in the GIFs. They're not posting the GIFs and going, "Look how foolish this person looks." They're posting them because the expression captures their feelings. And the second part, the people in the GIFs are black people. There's no exaggeration of features or expressions. That's what Kevin Hart fucking looks like. But I think this is the problem. People conflating this with actual physical blackface, as if the people using these GIFs are wearing them, like they're saying they are Jordan Peele when they show you this animation of him sweating profusely. They're not. The image simply conveys an emotion they're having, which is being conveyed extremely well by a person who sometimes just so happens to be black. And so, back to that recent tweet. We have people replying to it, wondering if this means that they're only supposed to use images of their own heritage. So, as a Latina, I'm just supposed to be represented by J-Lo and Shakira? That's dumb. I'm using GIFs based on facial expression and the mood I'm trying to convey. Well, not just J-Lo and Shakira. I'm sure there's some fine Danny Trejo GIFs out there. But yep, that's all you can use. Sorry, these are the rules now. Genuine question. I'm half Filipino and half white. I'm visibly brown. There aren't a ton of options for Filipino-American GIFs from pop culture. So which GIF should I be using? At least I found a few of Jason Mendoza from The Good Place. Good question. What GIFs should they be using? GIF gatekeepers? Maybe everyone could take a 23andMe test, which we could link to a database of GIFs you're allowed to use, and blocks you from using any you can't. Sorry, you have too much white in you. Have a child with a black woman and we'll let that child use Zoe Kravitz. And why stop at race? I mean, this guy's claiming as a white person I can use Schitt's Creek GIFs. Can I use all of them? I'm a straight white man. Am I performing gay face if I use a GIF of Dan Levy? Am I performing woman face if I use Catherine O'Hara? Are trans women upset if I, your typical garden variety male, use a GIF of a woman? I mean, by doing so, I'm clearly saying I identify as one. And absolutely none of us are cartoons, so how dare you use Fry? Like, actually, how far does this absurdity go? Someone going to claim that you're committing dog face when you use a GIF of Sarah Sanders looking confused? A GIF of a dog looking confused? According to the US Census, 76.3% of Americans are some flavor of white. For the purposes of representation, don't you want those people using GIFs of black actors and musicians and such? So that on our timelines we see more and more people of color, rather than limiting them? Would you really prefer a bunch of animated white faces all over Twitter and Facebook? I'm sure that's exactly what racists would love, because I can tell you right now, racists aren't the ones who are using GIFs of Weebay from The Wire when they learn a new fact. The people you're yelling at are well-meaning individuals who don't have a racist intention at all when they've got Mero shaking his head in response to some dumb social media prompt like, "Let's settle this once and for all. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?" Are there real racial problems in the world? Specifically in the United States and, yes, even up here in perfect Canada? Absolutely. No one with half a brain is disputing that, and the people with half a brain are likely providing examples of those problems fairly often. But these are fucking animated pictures you share with people instead of writing words. This isn't a real problem, and we don't need to make up more problems than we already have. If you need something to be angry about, and all you can find is, a white person shared a little animation of The Rock, let me tell you right now, you are not looking hard enough. And if anything, isn't this a compliment? By using these animated images, we white folk are saying, we're fucking boring and we have lame-ass robot faces. There aren't any good pictures of us bland saltines and butter-eating motherfuckers expressing ourselves. We need more than just Chris Pratt or Danny DeVito. But I get it. Oh, another white guy trying to tell black people what should and shouldn't be fine. And sure, I could show you a bunch of examples of people of color saying that they think this is a non-issue. But of course, I understand that they don't speak for everyone in a community. So, this is me asking, please, on behalf of all the whites, from perhaps one of the palest of the whites, can we please share your GIFs? I'll make you a deal. We get to use the GIFs, and in return, we'll do our best to make sure Iggy Azalea doesn't happen again. Deal?